What if the breakfast you eat every single morning is quietly shutting down your kidneys, one meal at a time, and you have absolutely no idea it's happening? Right now, millions of Americans over 50 wake up, make the same breakfast they've eaten for decades, and unknowingly push their kidney function lower and lower without feeling a single warning sign. No pain, no obvious symptoms, just silent damage building up in the background while you go about your day. The terrifying truth is that 3 of the most common breakfast foods sitting in your kitchen right now are linked to accelerated kidney decline, elevated creatinine levels, and increased risk of dialysis later in life. And the worst part? Most people think these foods are healthy. Doctors rarely mention them. Food labels don't warn you. But inside your body, your kidneys are struggling to keep up, and eventually they won't be able to anymore. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, more than 37 million American adults are living with chronic kidney disease, and 90% of them don't even know it yet. The damage happens silently, meal after meal, year after year, until one day a routine blood test reveals that your kidney function has dropped to dangerous levels. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the 3 most dangerous breakfast mistakes that are damaging your kidneys right now, why they're so harmful, and exactly what you should be eating instead to protect your kidney function before it's too late. The first breakfast mistake that's quietly destroying kidney function in people over 50 is something that almost everyone considers healthy. It sits on kitchen counters across America. It's promoted as heart-smart, fiber-rich, and good for digestion. I'm talking about whole-grain toast with almond butter. On the surface, this combination sounds perfect. Whole grains for fiber, almond butter for protein and healthy fats. It checks all the boxes for what mainstream health advice tells us to eat. Nutritionists recommend it. Food bloggers praise it. Grocery stores stock entire aisles dedicated to artisanal nut butters and organic whole grain breads. But when it comes to kidney health, this breakfast is a hidden disaster. Let me tell you about Robert, a 62-year-old retired teacher from Ohio, who came to see me after his routine blood work showed his creatinine had jumped from 1.1 milligrams per deciliter to 1.6 in less than a year. His estimated glomerular filtration rate, or eGFR, had dropped from 75 milliliters per minute to 52, putting him firmly into stage 3 chronic kidney disease. Robert was confused and scared. He didn't drink alcohol. He didn't smoke. He exercised regularly, walking 3 miles every morning. He had switched to what he thought was a healthier breakfast 2 years earlier, after his doctor told him to watch his cholesterol. Every morning, he ate 2 slices of whole wheat toast topped with almond butter and a medium banana. He drank a glass of orange juice. He thought he was doing everything right. He believed he was protecting his heart, lowering his cholesterol, and giving his body the fiber it needed. But that breakfast was quietly overloading his kidneys with 2 minerals that weakened kidneys struggled to process: potassium and phosphorus. Whole wheat bread contains about 150 milligrams of potassium per slice. 2 slices give you 300 milligrams before you've even added the almond butter. Now add 2 tablespoons of almond butter, which contains another 200 milligrams of potassium, and you're already at 500 milligrams. If Robert added a medium banana, that's another 420 milligrams. Then came the orange juice. 1 cup of orange juice contains 496 milligrams of potassium. In a single breakfast, Robert was consuming over 1,400 milligrams of potassium. For someone with healthy kidneys, this might not be a problem. Healthy kidneys can filter and excrete excess potassium without issue. But for someone whose kidneys are already under stress, whose nephrons are damaged and struggling, this creates a dangerous situation that compounds every single day. When kidneys can't filter potassium efficiently, it starts to build up in the bloodstream. High potassium levels, known medically as hyperkalemia, can cause irregular heartbeats, muscle weakness, tingling sensations, and in severe cases, cardiac arrest. According to research published in the Journal of the American Society of Nephrology, even mildly elevated potassium levels over time are associated with faster kidney function decline. Your kidneys have to work harder to balance potassium, and that extra effort accelerates damage to the nephrons, the tiny filtering units inside each kidney. Each kidney contains about 1 million nephrons. When nephrons are damaged, they don't regenerate. Once, they're gone. They're gone forever. Every time your kidneys struggle to filter excess potassium, more nephrons get damaged. Robert's kidneys were losing functional nephrons every single day because of his breakfast choice. But potassium isn't the only problem with this breakfast. Whole grains are also high in phosphorus. A single slice of whole wheat bread contains about 60 milligrams of phosphorus. 2 slices give you 120 milligrams. Almond butter adds another 120 milligrams. That's 240 milligrams of phosphorus before lunch. For people with kidney disease, high phosphorus intake is extremely dangerous. When kidneys can't remove excess phosphorus from the blood, it starts to accumulate. High phosphorus levels trigger a cascade of hormonal changes in your body. Your parathyroid glands start producing more parathyroid hormone to try to pull calcium from your bones to balance the phosphorus. This process, called secondary hyperparathyroidism, weakens your bones over time and increases fracture risk. But it gets worse. The excess phosphorus in your bloodstream binds with calcium and forms calcium phosphate crystals. These crystals don't just float harmlessly in your blood, they deposit into your arteries, your heart valves, and your soft tissues. Over time, this leads to vascular calcification, literally hardening your blood vessels from the inside out. A study from the Clinical Journal of the American Society of Nephrology followed over 3,000 patients with chronic kidney disease for 5 years and found that elevated serum phosphorus levels were directly linked to increased mortality, primarily from cardiovascular events. High phosphorus doesn't just damage your kidneys, it increases your risk of heart attack and stroke significantly. The irony is that Robert switched to whole wheat toast to protect his heart, but the phosphorus was actually putting his cardiovascular system at greater risk. Robert had no idea that his seemingly healthy breakfast was contributing to his kidney decline. When we made a simple change, switching him to white rice porridge with shredded chicken and lightly steamed zucchini, his creatinine levels stabilized within 3 months. His eGFR stopped dropping. He had more energy throughout the day, and his swelling decreased noticeably. The puffiness around his ankles that he had dismissed as normal aging disappeared completely. The difference wasn't a medication or a supplement. It was simply removing the hidden potassium and phosphorus load that his kidneys couldn't handle anymore. If you're eating whole grain toast with nut butter for breakfast, you need to understand what's happening inside your body. Think of your kidneys like a coffee filter. When the filter is new and clean, it can handle anything you pour through it. Water flows through easily. But when the filter gets clogged or worn out, it can't keep up. things start backing up. The flow slows down. Potassium and phosphorus are like thick sludge. If you keep pouring more through a damaged filter, it stops working. That's what happens to your nephrons when you eat high potassium, high phosphorus breakfasts day after day. The damage is silent, gradual, and irreversible if you don't catch it in time. Most people only discover the problem when their kidney function has already declined to dangerous levels. The second breakfast mistake damaging kidneys across America is even more common, and it's marketed specifically to older adults as a healthy choice. I'm talking about fruit smoothies and protein shakes. Walk into any grocery store and you'll see rows of protein powders, greens powders, superfood blends, and pre-made smoothies labeled as nutritious and energizing. Millions of people over 50 drink these thinking they're doing something good for their bodies. Social media influencers promote them. Fitness experts recommend them. Health food stores dedicate entire sections to smoothie ingredients. But here's what most people don't know. These drinks are liquid bombs of potassium, phosphorus, and hidden additives that your kidneys have to work overtime to process. Let me tell you about Linda, a 58-year-old nurse from Florida who had been drinking a homemade fruit smoothie every morning for 5 years. She worked long shifts at a hospital, and the smoothie was her way of getting nutrition quickly before work. She blended 2 cups of spinach, 1 cup of kale, a medium banana, half a cup of blueberries, 1 cup of almond milk, and a scoop of plant-based protein powder. She felt virtuous drinking it every morning. She thought she was flooding her body with antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals. She even posted photos of her smoothies on social media with hashtags about healthy living. Her co-workers admired her discipline. Her family thought she was setting a great example. But when her annual physical revealed that her creatinine had risen to 1.4 milligrams per deciliter and her eGFR had dropped to 55 milliliters per minute, she couldn't understand why. She didn't eat junk food. She didn't smoke. She exercised 4 times a week. What was going wrong? When we broke down the nutritional content of her smoothie ingredient by ingredient, the problem became shockingly clear. 1 cup of raw spinach contains 167 milligrams of potassium. 1 cup of kale has 299 milligrams. A medium banana has 422 milligrams. Half a cup of blueberries adds 114 milligrams. Almond milk adds another 150 to 200 milligrams. Before she even added the protein powder, Linda was drinking a smoothie with over 1,100 milligrams of potassium. Then came the protein powder. Most plant-based protein powders are made from peas, hemp, or brown rice. These sources are extremely high in both potassium and phosphorus. A single scoop of pea protein powder can contain 300 to 400 milligrams of potassium and up to 250 milligrams of phosphorus. That brought Linda's total breakfast potassium to nearly 1,500 milligrams and her phosphorus to over 350 milligrams, all consumed in liquid form in less than 10 minutes. For context, the National Kidney Foundation recommends that people with stage 3 chronic kidney disease limit potassium intake to 2,000 to 3,000 milligrams per day and phosphorus to 800 to 1,000 milligrams per day. Linda was consuming half of her daily potassium limit before 9 in the morning. She was essentially using up her entire potassium budget for the day in a single glass, leaving no room for any other foods without exceeding safe limits. But the potassium and phosphorus weren't the only problems with Linda's smoothie. Many protein powders contain phosphate-based preservatives and stabilizers. These additives, listed on ingredient labels as sodium phosphate, potassium phosphate, or calcium phosphate, are added to improve texture and extend shelf life. Unlike the natural phosphorus found in whole foods, which is bound to phytates and only partially absorbed, these phosphate additives are almost completely absorbed. Studies published in the American Journal of Kidney Diseases have shown that phosphate additives contribute significantly to elevated serum phosphorus levels, even in people who are careful about limiting dietary phosphorus from natural sources. For someone like Linda, whose kidneys were already struggling, these additives made everything worse. There's also another issue that most people never consider. Smoothies are liquid. When you drink your calories, instead of chewing them, your body processes them differently. Liquid nutrients bypass much of the normal digestive process and hit your bloodstream much faster than solid food. This causes rapid spikes in blood sugar and insulin, which over time can damage the delicate blood vessels inside your kidneys called glomeruli. These tiny vessels are responsible for filtering waste from your blood. When they're exposed to repeated blood sugar spikes, they become damaged and scarred. Research from the Journal of Renal Nutrition found that frequent consumption of high glycemic liquid meals is associated with faster progression of diabetic nephropathy and non-diabetic chronic kidney disease. Your kidneys rely on stable, gradual nutrient delivery. When you flood your system with concentrated nutrition in 10 minutes, your kidneys work in overdrive. Day after day, this creates chronic stress on an already weakened system. The kidneys never get a chance to rest or recover between these intense filtering sessions. When Linda stopped drinking smoothies and switched to scrambled eggs with sautéed zucchini and a half cup of white rice, her kidney markers improved within 2 months. Her creatinine dropped back to 1.2 milligrams per deciliter. Her eGFR rose to 61 milliliters per minute. She had more sustained energy throughout her shifts, less afternoon fatigue, and her legs stopped swelling. The chronic puffiness she had attributed to standing all day disappeared completely. The change wasn't drastic or complicated. It was just giving her kidneys a break from the constant overload. If you're drinking smoothies or protein shakes for breakfast, you need to understand that what seems healthy on the surface can be dangerous underneath. Your kidneys are not designed to process concentrated liquid nutrition every single day, especially when that nutrition comes loaded with minerals they can't filter efficiently. It's like asking a tired worker to carry twice the weight while working twice as fast. Eventually, they break down. Linda's story is not unique. Thousands of people are damaging their kidneys right now with smoothies they believe are helping them. The third breakfast mistake is perhaps the most surprising because it's recommended by doctors and health organizations as one of the healthiest foods on the planet. I'm talking about oatmeal with nuts, seeds, and dried fruit. For decades, oatmeal has been promoted as heart-healthy, cholesterol-lowering, and perfect for weight management. It's a staple breakfast for millions of Americans, especially those trying to eat clean. Health organizations like the American Heart Association actively promote oatmeal consumption. But when it comes to kidney health, this breakfast is a silent destroyer, and most people have no idea what it's doing to their bodies until the damage is done. Let me tell you about Margaret, a 67-year-old retired accountant from Texas who had been eating steel-cut oatmeal every morning for over 15 years. She was meticulous about her health. She tracked her food. She read nutrition labels. She avoided processed foods completely. Every morning, she cooked, half a cup of dry steel-cut oats, then top the finished bowl with a quarter cup of chopped walnuts, 2 tablespoons of chia seeds, a quarter cup of raisins, and a drizzle of organic honey. She felt proud of her discipline. She thought she was protecting herself from heart disease and diabetes. Her friends often asked her for health advice because she seemed so knowledgeable and committed. But when her doctor told her that her eGFR had dropped to 48 milliliters per minute and her creatinine was at 1.7 milligrams per deciliter, she was devastated. She felt like she had done everything right. How could her kidneys be failing when she was so careful about what she ate? The problem with oatmeal isn't that it's inherently bad for everyone. The problem is what happens when you eat it every single day, and your kidneys are already under stress from age, medications, or high blood pressure. 1 cup of cooked steel-cut oatmeal contains about 143 milligrams of potassium and 180 milligrams of phosphorus. That's already significant for someone with compromised kidney function. But most people don't stop there. Margaret added a quarter cup of walnuts, which contributed 125 milligrams of potassium and 98 milligrams of phosphorus. She added 2 tablespoons of chia seeds, which added 91 milligrams of potassium and 240 milligrams of phosphorus. Then came the raisins. Just a quarter cup of raisins contains 272 milligrams of potassium. By the time Margaret finished her breakfast bowl, she had consumed over 630 milligrams of potassium and over 600 milligrams of phosphorus. For someone with stage 3 kidney disease, this is a massive mineral load that forces the kidneys to work far harder than they should every single morning. But there's another hidden danger in oatmeal that most people never hear about: oxalates. Oats contain moderate to high levels of oxalates, naturally occurring compounds found in many plant foods, including spinach, almonds, and beets. In a healthy body with strong kidney function, oxalates are filtered out and excreted without problems. But in people with compromised kidney function, oxalates can accumulate. When oxalate levels get too high, they bind with calcium and form sharp calcium oxalate crystals. These crystals can deposit in the kidneys themselves, causing direct tissue damage and inflammation. They can also deposit in joints, causing pain that people often mistake for arthritis. A study published in the Journal of Urology found that high dietary oxalate intake is strongly associated with increased risk of calcium oxalate kidney stones, especially in individuals with existing kidney disease. Margaret's consistent oatmeal consumption was creating a perfect storm of mineral overload and oxalate accumulation. Margaret didn't have kidney stones yet, but her blood work showed elevated oxalate levels. Her body was holding on to compounds it couldn't clear efficiently, and that accumulation was contributing to inflammation and ongoing kidney stress. When we switched her breakfast to plain white rice porridge cooked with low-sodium chicken broth, topped with cooked egg whites, and half a cup of steamed carrots, her body responded almost immediately. Within 6 weeks, her creatinine dropped to 1.5 milligrams per deciliter. Her eGFR climbed back to 53 milliliters per minute. She felt less bloated throughout the day. Her joints hurt less. Her energy levels stabilized, and she stopped experiencing the late-morning crashes that had plagued her for years. The difference wasn't a miracle drug. It was simply removing the chronic daily overload of potassium, phosphorus, and oxalates that her kidneys could no longer handle. Oatmeal is often called a superfood, but for people with kidney disease or declining kidney function, it can be a silent saboteur that accelerates damage while you think you're being healthy. The nutrients that make oatmeal beneficial for someone with strong kidneys become toxic burdens for someone whose kidneys are struggling. Margaret learned this lesson the hard way, but fortunately caught it before her kidneys failed completely. So, what should you eat for breakfast if you want to protect your kidneys? The answer is simpler than most people think, but it goes against almost everything mainstream nutrition tells you. The best breakfast for kidney health is one that's low in potassium, low in phosphorus, easy to digest, and gentle on your blood sugar. That means focusing on white rice, prepared as a soft porridge, plain eggs prepared without heavy oils, lightly cooked low-potassium vegetables like zucchini, yellow squash, or bell peppers, and small portions of lean protein like shredded chicken breast or white fish. It means completely avoiding high-potassium fruits like bananas and oranges. It means avoiding nuts, seeds, nut butters, and protein powders entirely. It means avoiding whole grains. It means eating real food, prepared simply, without heavy sauces or commercial seasonings. I know this sounds boring to people who are used to elaborate breakfast spreads. I know it doesn't sound exciting or trendy, but your kidneys don't care about trends. They care about survival. When you eat a breakfast of white rice porridge with shredded chicken and steamed zucchini, you're giving your kidneys exactly what they need: clean energy without excess minerals, balanced nutrients that don't spike blood sugar, and minimal stress on filtering systems that are already working overtime. Your creatinine levels stabilize. Your eGFR stops dropping. Your swelling decreases. Your energy improves. And most importantly, you stop the silent progressive damage. The simple breakfast I'm recommending might not look impressive on Instagram, but it could save your kidneys from failure. Your kidneys are working every second of every day to keep you alive. They filter waste from your blood. They balance fluids and electrolytes. They regulate blood pressure. They produce hormones that keep your bones strong. But they can't do their job if you keep overloading them with foods they can't process. Every high-potassium breakfast pushes them closer to failure. Every high-phosphorus meal damages more nephrons. Over time, that extra work adds up. The damage becomes permanent. The decline becomes irreversible. Eventually, you reach end-stage renal disease, and your only options are dialysis or transplant. But it doesn't have to be that way. You have control over what you eat. You have the power to make different choices starting tomorrow morning. You don't need expensive supplements or complicated meal plans. You just need to understand what your kidneys need and give it to them consistently. If you or someone you love is dealing with kidney problems, subscribe to this channel so you don't miss critical information that could protect your kidney function and keep you off dialysis. If you have questions about kidney health, leave a comment below and I will address them in future videos. Your kidneys don't heal overnight, but what you eat every single day decides whether they keep getting weaker or start stabilizing and potentially improving. Start small. Change one breakfast this week. Stay consistent with that change. Over time, your body will thank you in ways you can actually feel. Better energy, less swelling, clearer thinking, and most importantly, stable kidney function that keeps you independent and off dialysis machines.